Hi, it's Joe Morgan with the Tech Leader Spotlight podcast, where we interview tech leaders to learn about their journey and leadership lessons learned along the way. This show is brought to you by the No Regret Money Plan, created for smart tech professionals who know they're doing well, but aren't certain if it's enough. We help you invest cash wisely, make the most of stock awards, minimize the tax bill, and create clarity and confidence so you can spend less time worrying about money and more time living the life you want. If you'd like more information on this, just look me up on LinkedIn. That's Joe Morgan at Best Financial Life. Today on our podcast, we've got Josh McIntyre, who is a software engineer at Microsoft. And Josh is an experienced leader in software engineering and security education. Thanks for joining us today, Josh.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Joe.
Great. Let's start with software engineering and security education. What does that mean to you?
So, what I do day to day as a professional software engineer at Microsoft is really developing software, also maintaining the infrastructure needed to run that software in the cloud. I work on an enterprise file system product in Azure Cloud. So, we basically help companies move around large amounts of data. And on the side, totally independent from Microsoft, I run a tech education project called Chain. So I create security education content around various, personal security topics, digital currencies, and other computer science areas of interest. So I have a YouTube channel. I write articles and share code on GitHub, and I just put out a book about securing cryptocurrencies this year.
Wow, that's pretty cool. So that must take a lot of time and effort. You must really be passionate about the education side. Is that right?
I am. It's something that gives me an opportunity to dive into topics that I don't necessarily get to touch at my day job. I wouldn't say it's something I do every day. I spend a lot of time being active, climbing, doing jujitsu, getting away from screens and, moving around in the woods. But having that creative outlet, I think, helps me be a better software engineer. And I get to learn things that I can bring to the job that I wouldn't necessarily get to learn on the job.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Well, I find that, tech people who are really into this and very successful often have side gigs or something else going on, just for that reason. It's hard to hold you back. So let's go into the first question. So thinking about the tech world, what does the word leadership in relation to tech mean to you?
In my opinion, leadership is really all about learning, especially in the tech space. Our field, maybe more than some others, evolves extremely quickly. And I think what sets good engineers apart is the ability to lead with curiosity, have empathy for their colleagues, and really understand all the people that they're working with. And so you can adapt to those new circumstances, learn new technologies, and continue to dive into the problem solving mindset that you need to have. I think more than anything, leadership in tech is not just telling people how to solve problems, but it's meeting them where they're at and helping drive their own curiosity and goals. Because when you have an engaged team with you, you can solve problems with genuine interest and genuine productivity.
Yeah, that's great. So the part about that's interesting, the part about not just telling people how to solve problems, but meeting them where they're at. Where did you learn that, or how did that come to be your point of view?
I think part of that for me is just sort of my personality. I mean, I love to share knowledge with people. I love to learn. But really learning that on the job, in the first 10, 12 years of my career here, there's sort of the maybe the stereotype of computer folks being a little bit in a corner, just solving problems, heads down. And sometimes that's quite true. But engineering is very collaborative, and in order to solve problems, you often have to get fresh perspectives, fresh understanding from different people that you work with. And so it's just a natural evolution of being a professional engineer. You see how important the people side actually is. And, the kind of problem solving you can get to do when you bring multiple people's perspectives into play.
Mm, that's great. And the so there's a lot of skills that we're talking about there, and I know there's a lot of challenges on the tech world today, a lot of layoffs, a lot of things going on, crazy stuff going on. For people who are working today, right now, um, what piece of advice would you give them? Like, what are the things they should do in their job that would help them in case those layoffs come their way? Because we know if you're out there and you haven't been laid off, it always comes out of the blue. It's not anything that you ever expect. So what can we be doing before that happens?
Yeah, so there's really two pieces to that I'd like to share from both sort of the career and the personal perspective. One, I like to advise people that, engineering and problem solving is the skill that you really want to develop long term. Um, Companies are often looking for sort of checking those boxes. Do you know this programming language and this framework and this library and this DevOps tool? But really, what makes you a good engineer is your ability to learn those new technologies quickly and use your brain to solve the problems that are in front of you. So, even though you should be building specific skill sets, I think the way to sort of have a long and healthy career in engineering is to really focus on the engineering mindset and not just the particular tools that you work with.
So focus on the engineering mindset. So what does that mean?
To me, that's, are you able to use the best tools for the job, right? Not just saying, I only know this programming language, and even though this other one might be better for this task, I'm siloed into only using this one language. It's that ability to pick up new tools, to look at things with a fresh perspective. A great example of this is within my workplace and my personal life, starting to use some of the AI assistive tools to make myself more productive. um, you know, Getting faster search, faster code review, better suggestions. That ability to try something new will allow you to continue to evolve with the space rather than sort of getting left behind or stuck where you're at.
Yeah, that's great. So always thinking forward, moving forward. Um, and what about certifications and all of those things? I see a lot of people on LinkedIn get these certifications and there's these notices all the time. Is it like, is this about having actual certifications? Is it about doing things? Is it about showing that you can do things? How do people actually do this?
I think it's really a combination. One of the unique things that I like about computer science as a career is, in my opinion, its accessibility. We don't necessarily have the formal path requirements that other jobs like becoming a doctor do. Um, I think formal education is wonderful. I have a Bachelor of Science in computer science. I have a few like cybersecurity and blockchain certifications, but you don't have to have that. What you really have to have is the skills. And
Hmm.
if you can demonstrate you have those skills through a portfolio, through public speaking, through a YouTube channel, or writing, any way that you can share your skills with your community and your prospective employers really counts. So I think what I advise people to do is, you don't have to sit down and practice interview questions or build a portfolio if that's what you hate doing. Find a way that you enjoy, that you're genuinely passionate about to share your CS skills and do that. And you'd be surprised over time how many eyes you can get sort of on yourself if you share your passions with others.
So don't worry so much about how you get noticed, but be sure to be putting yourself out there in ways that you're comfortable doing so.
Yeah, exactly. We often say in the CS world, there's a website for practice interview questions called Leet Code, and people talk about grinding Leet Code, like getting really good at those questions and getting on the rankings and standing out. I hate doing those kind of problems, so I don't. But I have a huge portfolio of code that I wrote and YouTube. I can clearly demonstrate that I have value as an engineer. And those are things that I do for fun. And so it doesn't become a chore that falls by the wayside when life gets in the way.
Yeah, great tips there. Appreciate it. Um, sort of a personal career question, personal slash career question. If you could go back in time just 5 years and give yourself some advice, what would it be? Besides, start learning AI and buy NVIDIA stock and all that.
The biggest advice that I would give to myself personally is just be patient, young man. You know, um, I have an engineer mindset, kind of that hacker mentality. I love to solve problems. I love to set goals for myself, both personally and professionally, and I just want to reach them right away. I just want to reach the goal and set the next one and keep moving. But good things can take time, and you're doing better than you think you are from that self-critical perspective. And just keep leaning into that curiosity and enthusiasm. That's kind of the light that keeps you moving forward. But it's hard sometimes, especially for us computer folks. We want to solve every problem and solve it now.
Yeah, there's like this achiever mentality, right? Like you want to achieve and accomplish, but if you zoom out and look at your whole career, it's really more about showing the things you said, showing your skills and developing those skills and continuing to be open about new things that come along the way. Is that fair?
Yeah. And I wanted to mention as well, both on the layoff perspective and sort of that going back in time thing too, is I think part of what can help you in that arena is also prioritizing living within your means, paying off debt. You know, Generally speaking, right, we're talking to sort of high income earners here. And so don't spend all that money that you make. Those layoffs can come suddenly, make hay while the sun shines. And that also gives you more room uh, in terms of your career to make moves or to weather those storms and not be forced into one particular job or company just because you need the income.
Yeah, flexibility is super important. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much, Josh. I appreciate you joining and sharing your viewpoints and your thoughts and being open about sharing these things. Is there any final words you want to add or anything else you want to add?
If you're interested in computer science, it's a little bit of a tough market right now, but continue to dive into that passion. This is an incredibly fun career, incredibly diverse opportunities, and I think a really diverse set of paths that can lead you into a computer science career. So when I have the opportunity to talk to folks about it, I always say, if you're interested, please reach out to folks in the industry, continue to dive into any resources you can get your hands on. It's great. It's a great place to be.
Yeah, I love that message because while we might be in a little bit of a bumpy patch here today, if you look forward 5, 10 years, we need people in those roles. We need people really exploring that stuff. So terrific. Just as a reminder, this is sponsored by the No Regret Money Plan, where tech leaders gain clarity and control of their finances so they can live out the rest of their life with intention. If you want to know more about us, look me up on LinkedIn, Joe Morgan at Best Financial Life. Thanks, Josh, for joining us.
Thanks, Joe.